And welcome back to Berlin in Germany. Next up, it is Schalke 04 taking on G2 Esports. Both teams coming off convincing wins yesterday. I'm joined by Froskuren to set up the match. Yesterday, G2 obliterated Misfits, and they continue to be a gigantic threat for every team in Europe.
I think we need to come up with a different verb. It's called G2ing people, and this is what it looks like. It's when Caps takes Renekton mid lane, and he just dumpsters kids, and unfortunately Soaz was on the receiving end in a surprise catch.
And then Leader, and then Maxlaw, and then...
Just go through the whole roster.
Yeah, basically that's what happened time and time again. I actually love seeing the pro view from Caps' point of view. Just absolute domination and control. He really just put on a showing yesterday.
And I talked about this a little bit yesterday on the analyst desk, but it's not necessarily like the combos that Caps uses, because Renekton combos are pretty cut and dry, but it's kind of the creativity of what he offers with the kit about when he decides to surprise people. Like he's walking away from Soaz and then he flashes on top of him, or he's going in for the aggressive trade under the tower but still knows that he has his dashes to get out. It's kind of when Caps picks his moments, which is why he's so enjoyable to watch.
It's the mind games that he plays, but it's not only him, it's the entire team. Now, obviously, G2 Esports are the clear favorites against Schalke 04. Let's talk about this squad as the underdogs. They're at 4 wins, 3 losses. They are en route to playoffs, and now that the middle of the table, or actually the entire table, with the exception of Fnatic and G2, are so close, let's talk about their win yesterday against Rogue. Upset got Ezreal once again, and then let's start looking forward. What can Schalke do against G2 today?
And it feels like Schalke just need to fine-tune slight things before they are really ready and kind of back into playoff form, because remember, we had such high expectations for this team and then it completely fell apart. But it feels like anytime you see Upset lock in Ezreal, you're like, okay, this is going to be an easy Schalke victory here.
Well, let's see what will Schalke need to do today to take down G2. We're obviously going to take a look at the clip a little longer, but set something up for me in terms of team composition. What would you like Schalke to draft in order to beat G2?
So I feel like there needs to be an emphasis on comfort champion. So I want to see things like the Ezreal for Upset. I would love to see Trick on something like a Sejuani, just because I feel like when he's on Elise, he's a phenomenal Elise player, but when he's on something like Sejuani, it makes sure that his impact isn't just felt in the early game, it's also then extending in towards the mid and late game with such a team fight oriented ultimate. I picked Akali for Abadage because his Akali's been popping off, but like, let's be honest, that's an Akali pick into G2 where you're like,
a bold call.
You're like 4-0 or you're like 0-8.
But if Schalke are going to beat G2, then Abadage needs to perform on the Akali against Caps to make him craps in order to win the game, right?
And that's always going to be a tall order, because going into a game against G2, it's impossible to draft against them. I feel like what teams actually need to do is, instead of trying to like bait out certain picks or force G2 onto certain things, they actually need to just look internally and be like, what is our comfort picks? What is an ease of execution on a comp that we want? And just grab what they need. Forget what G2 are doing. These guys can do anything and everything. You never know what's going to happen to you.
So why did you put the Renekton up top for Odo Omne?
I mean, frankly, when I'm looking at Odo, it was funny, when we were kind of going through this composition, I was like, you know, Odo's a great Kennen player, but in the comp that I'd already listed in terms of some of the champions, there's too much magic damage here. You need to have some sort of AD, so I went towards the Renekton because I feel like that is one of his AD champions that he can grab. But for Odo, you're basically just looking for a top lane champion that doesn't need a lot of resources and can have a high team fight impact.
And if I understand this correctly, you're then looking for Trick and for Upset to be uncomfortable champions that can play early and late. They have the ability to do multiple things. And Abadage is the big question mark for me here. Can he at least equalize or neutralize Caps? That has to happen for Schalke to win this game.
I mean, it could just be that we see an actual Azir versus Corki matchup, and then that in itself kind of neutralizes the lane. I feel like there's always going to be a danger in terms of picking something like an Akali or an Aatrox or an Aurelia into a squad like G2, because they love to fight you. But I also think that that's the way that you actually beat G2. We hear teams say it again and again and again. You can't just back off the gas when you face them. You must fight fire with fire.
Froskuren, today we have seen 3 games, 2 of which upset victories have come in. This is a team that has a player named Upset. The stars are aligned, and will Schalke upset G2?
I'm going to say a hard no. But
what a buzzkill. Schalke are heavy underdogs. I'm not letting you talk anymore. That's not what I wanted to hear. Against the MSI champions, let's see if they can surprise G2. You had to say yes.
Good luck. Good luck.
I don't think anyone has to say yes. Just because you have wordplay, Trevor, doesn't make it clever. You're not free.
Got him.
Got him. It's Mendy. Hello.
We're back. You know, the
that's-
duo everyone knows and loves.
Yeah, Medi Endy.
Always doing our crazy intros.
Woo. Anyway, we're going to talk about Schalke versus G2. It's going to be a good game. Upset did pop off yesterday. Schalke looked good. The question always is, you know, G2 just looks so much better than anyone but Fnatic right now. Can Schalke put up a challenge?
I mean, Frost said it best. No, I'm just kidding. Schalke, honestly, I think it's interesting. We look at the games they've won and lost. They've lost most recently to the likes of Fnatic at the top, Origin as well, but they got to win against Splice earlier on in the season, so they do have potential to try and break up into the top. Whether or not that'll happen today, I think Draft will give us a very good indication of whether that can be a possibility.
I think we're all just praying for Kiana and Maud to come out from G2 as well. You know, we saw...
I'll take it from either side, to be honest.
Okay. So, Kiana or Maud from either side. I wish we were actually going into the players' headsets right now. I could probably shout at Grabs. Hey, Grabs! Kiana! Nah, he's not paying attention.
I can't hear anything.
That's a shame.
But they all did just laugh simultaneously, but they'll have to get something completely different.
It's 100% us. You'll see it on the mic check. We're just waiting to get on into picks and bans. If you are Schalke, we saw Fusk saying, you know, you have this perfect comp, Renekton, Sejuani, Akali, Ezreal, Lux. Do you agree with that being the sort of composition they need to win?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of good things in here, specifically strong bot lane comfort pick for Upset down there. They have pushing tools as well, and just, you know, good, solid ability to engage with the Sejuani too. There are a lot of things from that that Frost mentioned that could serve Schalke very, very well come Champ Select.
Well, we'll see if they're able to get their hands on any of it. I am afraid, crowd, Kiana is banned. Yeah.
I agree.
Boo indeed. Or are they shouting blue and supporting Schalke? Could be either way.
Nope.
No, okay, definitely boo. Karma gets removed as well. We've seen a lot of these support bans going out. Karma just such a strong support, or top laner, or even mid, wherever you want to take her.
Yeah, so our other 100% presence champions at the moment are the Mordekaiser, the Aurelia, and the Karma. Karma already banned, of course. The Yuumi was the other 100% presence one, so likely going to be seeing all of those taken off the board, with the Mordekaiser being the only possibility. If G2 want to leave that one up, I'm sure they have the counter picks ready to smash it.
I was wondering if Nico might be a good counter pick to the Mordekaiser as well. You can shape split her away from the Death's Grasp, you have a lot of damage, and the on-hit is so strong.
Exactly, I was thinking on-hit Nico for sure. Fits very similar to that Vayne that we saw yesterday, where it's very consistent percent HP damage with the Blade of the Ruined King as well, and we know Wonder loves that champion, so can definitely be a possibility. I like seeing this though, the Ezreal takeaway from Upset. Who cares about these new champs? Mordekaiser, leave it on up. Do not let Upset have his best champion.
I only played it once this split, but it wasn't that dominating win versus Rogue yesterday. We'll see what Schalke decide as a first pick worthy champion here. Mordekaiser still on the cards, things like the Akali, things like the Azir if they want it as well, but instead it's going to be Schalke who lock in the Nico.
Yeah, I think that's a very smart pick up against G2 in particular, and their ability to flex that all across the map. They could drop that into the mid lane for Abdage, throw it up for Odo. There's a lot of options here for Schalke, and it's also very good to have flex picks when you're facing off against G2 to deny them the ability to just counter you and do it so early in the draft.
They don't even need those flex picks to get winning lanes. Xayah with Khan so strong. Xayah already locked in here for G2. Could go for something like a jungle Sylas as well, who has snuck his way through picks and bans.
I really like this too, because you see the Sylas, and I think on 9-13 you have to assume it is jungle Sylas after some nerfs that took its ability to win lanes down significantly. It wasn't actually hit in the jungle, so that has been a pick that a lot of junglers around the world have turned to, and now could be Jankos' turn on the LEC stage.
Azir will be the second lock-in here for Schalke. Draven, a very strong pick into the Xayah. We usually see it banned out. You can harass quite a lot, but instead Abadage is going to lock in the Tahm Kench and give Ignar that supportive support.
Yeah, interesting to see them pick up that TK. A very supportive support, if I would say so myself. But we have seen it actually be pretty strong in lane too, going for trade. So yes, the defensive output is what we know Tahm Kench for most. It is definitely a champion that can trade very well against something like a Rakan. Whenever he dashes in, you deal a lot of damage back into his face.
Definitely can, but you can get caught out pretty easily as well. Very low mobility on that Tahm Kench. We'll see if Mickey and Perks can win out that bottom lane, because that is where our eyes are going to be a lot of this game. I think that matchup between Perks and Upset, Perks on his sort of vendetta to prove himself the best bot laner in Europe, probably in most people's eyes is definitely up there, but beating people like Colby, beating people like Upset consistently really solidifies him at the top.
Yeah, if you just never lose a lane, you never lose a game, people eventually are going to come around to the fact that you are just the best. Now the Caitlyn, interestingly, taken away from Upset. It's something we've seen a little bit here and there, but has been one of those champions that's been popping up as we see so many more ADCs picking up Infinity Edge plus Essence Reap. Having all that AD is very strong.
Seeing it a lot in the LPL at the moment as well. I actually was talking to Frost earlier today, and she said she's surprised we don't see it so much in LEC. She thinks LEC is sleeping on the Caitlyn, and G2 Esports here not sleeping on the fact that Upset might want to pick it for himself. More than Aatrox taken away by Schalke, and we'll see what G2 want for their next pick. They still have the option of quite a bit of flexibility here. As much as we say the Sylas is mid, jungle, it could still be mid lane. And something like a Victor can go into either top or mid as well.
Yeah, typical G2 fashion. They continue to give themselves options, and even though in our last game rather, we saw the Victor picked into Azir and then it actually went top lane as a counter to the Kennen. This is a pick that we do expect to see more into the Azir, specifically because Victor's E, the laser, can outrange Azir. If you can pick a champion that can trade with Azir without getting in range of his Sand Soldiers, it is going to be a very good time for you in lane.
So we saw a few AD carry hovers there, but Schalke instead decide they want the Xin Zhao here. Now, there is a tiny possibility that the Nico is going down towards that bottom lane. I don't expect it. Not anymore. Jinx is locked in for Upset. First time he's played it this split. We'll see how effective he can be getting excited in that bottom lane.
Yeah, this composition is very peculiar here from Schalke because you see some of their options, Azir in the mid lane, the Jinx as well down bottom lane. That's so much consistent DPS come that late game stage when you have 2-3 items across the board. Hello!
I love this from Caps. He's like, okay, you banned the AD Assassin I want to play. I'm playing a different AD Assassin this game.
This is so funny too because I was talking with the G2 staff before the game and I was saying, what happens when you just get all your mid lane champions banned away? Look at this. There's 4 mid laners plus that Mordekaiser if you consider that banned away from Caps. And they say, you know what? Sometimes that happens. We just gotta Grabs lets the team have a little surprise. They call it the 4-5 surprise. You pick whatever you want. You're gonna win the game. That's what Caps is doing here on the Talon.
Well, it's a pick we haven't seen for a long time in the LEC. It's a pick into the Azir, something we've been looking for, that counter matchup, that strong matchup into it. Of course, I expect Caps to be roaming around a lot in the early game. Don't really think he'll be playing in that lane too much, but we'll see how G2 can pilot the Talon in the mid lane. It's going to be an exciting one to be sure, as Schalke playing a little bit of late game with the Azir and with the Jinx, but also has some early pressure from that Xin Zhao.
Yeah, the Xin Zhao is going to be the idea to try and bridge the gap here, but you are playing against a lot of champions that want to fight you early on the side of G2. This one could get bloody very early, Medic.
Oh, I hope so. I love it when we have a bit of action on the Rift. It's always exciting, and it's why a lot of us tune in for G2 games, because even if they lose, they're going to do it in style. Caps will int. Will it be claps or craps? That's the question for this game. And as we jump onto the Rift, I'm pretty sure Schalke see a mammoth task ahead of them to take down the 6-1 team, the MSI champions. The Royal Blues will have to do quite a lot of work. Once more onto the Summoners Rift, the 4th game of the day, the penultimate game of the week here in the LEC. We're seeing a little bit of inventiveness from G2. I could have said that any day. Happens all the time. And actually, there's a quote that I really like from Perks, which was, I believe it was from Perks, which is, everyone talks about how, we're being inventive and we're challenging the meta. At what point does what we do just become the meta? Having these unique picks. They're the champions of MSI. They're the current internationally best team in the world. What they do is the meta. Everyone else needs to catch up.
I mean, it actually is happening. Whenever they go to an international event, we saw them at MSI, all of a sudden more teams in the LCK trying to pick up this flex pick style. After Rift Rival was seen now in the LCS, more of these flexible options and trying to do it. So they go to regions, they conquer them, and then everyone's like, wait a second, these guys actually know what they're doing.
Unsurprisingly, they know what they're doing. We've known it in Europe for a very long time. I do want to focus our eyes in, hone in on this mid lane. Talon, not a pick we see too often. Ender, what are we expecting from Caps here?
Well, it's interesting that we're seeing the Talon here because we saw the Jizuke Echo played earlier in the day, and I think both of these matchups can take similar ideas in that you are playing a melee assassin type up against the Azir, but specifically what you're going to be doing on the Talon in this lane is, you know, once you get a couple of levels, you can take pretty good quick burst trades where you jump forward with the Q and then you can get the rake damage to apply, and he does a lot of damage with that rake. The only thing is that it doesn't actually, the cooldown on it does not scale down with levels, so it is a little bit more difficult for him to spam this in lane even once he does get a couple of points in that W.
As you say, it's quite difficult for him to get an advantage in that lane. Both the junglers up towards the top side. Trick already here. Odoamne going in with a shape splitter. Wonder flashes away straight away. Can't get knocked up. And Trick is able to get that summoner out early on.
It's just such an early timer there from Wonder. He didn't expect it, especially because Jankos was clearing his Krugs right next to him. But Jankos, hopelessly low in his jungle early on this Sylas, is not able to impact any lanes early. It was actually early pathing from Trick. Red buff straight into the top lane that caught Wonder by surprise and will now force him to be much more respectful without a splash.
Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Perkz and Mickey putting the damage out that a Xayah Rakan can. If you get those Ws first, you can put a lot of pressure down. Of course, you get the empowered auto attacks out of the Rakan as well. And as expected, Upset and Ignar a little bit under the cosh down here. And the question to me then becomes, can they survive the storm? You know, can they get through it? Will we see Jankos looking down here? Will we see Caps looking down here, trying to unleash Perkz and Mickey upon the rest of the map?
Yeah, for right now, Schalke's bot lane just needs time, and honestly, it's pretty hard to do much of anything against a Tahm Kench lane that is willing to just be pushed underneath their tower, so instead we'd look towards G2 to maybe use the pressure gained from bot lane to get an advantage elsewhere, you know, to get an early reset. Mickey can then roam to mid and get some pressure for Caps towards that area of the map as well, or just simply knock down some turret plates and get some money yourselves.
Trick's got the sneaky gank here once again. Wonder no flash, has the gravity field, but forced underneath his tower. The damage coming out from Odoamne as well. One more auto's enough, and Schalke strike first.
Really nicely done there from Trick to find the pathing up into the top lane and repeat gank that lane. I was questioning this Xin Zhao pick. I don't think it fits super well into this composition come mid to late game team fights, but if he is able to find these hits early on onto lanes and get those kills, it's going to be very good to bridge the gap towards Schalke's 3-item point where they just deal so much damage.
And the question then is, can G2 actually find these kills in the early game? Can they get this snowball rolling? Because if you get to later game team fights, AD Assassins are not known that much for their ability to play around those fights. Trick got up in here pretty easily and avoided vision.
Yeah, I think he actually, there's a ward on the map that would have spotted him, but I think that was placed by Caps after he'd already entered through that area. So now, because there's no flash on Wonder, and because Odoamne has the Glacial Augment, that bonus slow meant that Trick was able to get an extra attack out before he was going to be in turret range, and allowed Odo to get the kill with the extra damage from the on-hit W at the end.
That's a great early start for Trick. We've seen how good he can be on Schalke throughout the course of this split, and of course playing up against his old team, a team he was a champion on, a team he was a 2-time MVP on. Only Perkz remains from that former roster, but I'm sure it'll be pretty heartening for him to see his team get off to an early lead.
Definitely would. Now for G2's side, we said maybe the early game is going to be important. I think maybe we need to readjust that and think post-level 6 especially. Originally we look at this Talon in the mid lane, we say early laning phase, yeah, you can use your rake to clear out the minion waves, but now he has his Tiamat, so he can clear waves a little bit easier. I expect to see him go for the mobility boots relatively soon, because that's where we see Talon unlock, because when he can get those Moby boots, when he can use the parkour to roam around the map, or even do it before he gets the Moby boots if he really wants to. But really, what we want to see is him tag teaming with Jankos to find plays on side lanes in the next, 5-10 minutes.
Perkz flashing in down towards the bottom side as Mickey comes in as well. Ignar gobbles up Upset, who still has a flash of his own. Spits him out, the flash comes out. Mickey underneath the tower, can't quite get the damage in, and Ignar still has the thick skin. G2 forced away. Caps fighting in the mid lane as Abadarge went in with the Emperor's Divide.
Yeah, Caps is on the run here, but of course he has the parkour. He should use the blast cone here to make sure Trick can't answer over the wall. Gets the assistance from the dragon.
It's not going to be enough. That pot is ticking over. Caps able to survive, but Trick still has the flash here. If Caps went over with the parkour and Trick had been waiting, could have been very dangerous. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Mickey's actually looking for a fight.
Yeah, instead Trick is coming down here, and Mickey goes underneath the tower. He's gonna die.
Yeah, it's just dead. Oh no, he dodges away, but here comes Trick looking for him. Mickey dodges out the wind, becomes lightning, but Trick is on the chase, flashes forward, takes the kill, and Trick is on the board once again. Great stuff so far from Schalke. Perks trying to turn it around.
Jankos does have his flash. Does he want to go for the play? No, Ignar does show up. He didn't know that was going to be the case, but it would have been a very risky dodge forward for him. That was actually very disrespectful, I think, from Mickey to push forward and go for that play underneath the tower, even though it was a 1v2 situation with Upset isolated there. Trick was in the area. G2 should have known.
Definitely should have had the control of the lane, now lost it. Upset's teleported back with a BF sword, it's going to back away. Sitting on just a little bit of gold to start him a couple of boots. You would expect 400 gold in his back pocket. Caps forced now in the mid lane. You can see Abadage going for the Seeker's Arm Guard as expected into an AD matchup. And Mickey going for one of his signature roams, but not really much you can do at level 4 without the flash.
Yeah, just going to be clearing away vision. And Mickey put down some really good ward. You know, there's going to be one on Trick right now inside his jungle, spotting him clearing out his red buff. That allows the rest of G2 to walk into the jungle, try to steal away these raptors.
Jankos actually trying to land with the Abduct, couldn't quite connect. Trick is here, Abadage as well, doesn't have the Emperor's Divide, they're just trying to steal away the Raptors. Trick jumps in, didn't quite see who secured that. Ignar's on his way up as well, but Mickey's so slippery on the Rakan, can just use the Battle Dance to get to safety. And I want to bring attention just to Trick. He's got Hex Flash here on the Xin Zhao. It confused me a little bit at first because it's not usual you see a jungler take that route.
Right, we actually saw Selfmade taking it earlier today as well. A little bit interesting, but Xin Zhao is one of those champions, I feel, that doesn't, as a jungler, most jungle champions have the ability to get over walls with their base abilities. Xin Zhao can't really do that unless there's a target over the wall that he has vision of. So it's a very long checklist for Xin Zhao to be able to jump a wall, whereas the Hex Flash can enable him to try and get to uncomfortable positions and get behind G2 for early games.
I think a good example, you look at the other junglers we regularly have, Sejuani, Rek'Sai, all of them so good, Elise Sin as well.
Jarvan.
I mean,
keep listing all the junglers that are played.
That EQ is actually quite hard to do. I learned from a friend at Rift Rivals that Jarvan, not the easiest jungler to play.
I hope you never play Jarvan again, Medic.
I have to practice it at some point. Anyway,
stick to support.
Schalke 500 gold up in the early game. It is important to note that Caps has just finished his Moby Boots and will start roaming around the map, looking up towards the top side right now. And G2 don't always have the most explosive super early game starts. You're looking at the 15-minute mark for them.
But it's about to get
already
there.
Going on to Trick. Crescent Guard comes out. Caps going to jump away. The Ignite's ticking away. Trick trying to survive. Caps goes down as well. Abadage there in time. Jankos steals away the Crescent Guard and now knocks back Abadage. But here comes Odo. Pop Blossom. Pop to the base of Jankos. Wonder comes in for the kill. And no, Odo's not in the best of place because he hasn't got flash.
Here comes a rocket.
Get caught out. The rocket doesn't quite connect. Jankos caught in his own jungle. Odo takes him out. Wonder gets the final kill. And in the end, it looks like G2 come out on top.
Yeah, Wonder shows up to get the double kill right there. The play started off with Caps jumping in towards the blue buff, basically getting the solo kill down on towards Trick. But then the stall happened for so long, it looked like Schalke was maybe going to be able to do anything. But then Wonder showed up and ruined their day.
That he did. You can see Caps trying to get that Talon roam off early on. Caught out Trick, but wasn't able to take him down quickly enough.
Yeah, the second he buys the Moby Boots, he just runs into the enemy jungle.
I love this Abyssal Voyage behind them, but Upset caught out. Not going to be enough damage yet from Perks, but they're just tanking up the tower. Upset, he goes down to the Ignite. Mickey now running into his opposing team's jungle as Caps is there, waiting in the wings, gonna bodyguard his support away.
Yeah, Caps had roamed down. Jankos is also here, so it's about to be a 3 versus 2. Ignar and Trick have no idea what's happening, and they don't have the ability to escape.
This is the best sort of League of Legends. The action just keeps on coming. Trick jumps onto Caps, devoured up by Ignar, but here comes the chase, and Caps is there. Here comes Mickey, looking for the knock of the stopwatch, stops him in time, but the Ignite is ticking on Caps. Is he gonna go down? He survives just about. Ignar under the tower, charmed up. They're trying to get him before the thick skin can land. Jankos, though, just looking for the chains. Lash down onto the Tunga, and he gets the kill.
G2, even after losing the initial fight in the bottom lane, they bring everyone else back down there. Jankos and Caps on the roam. Very nicely done to recover after what could have gone very, very poorly.
Oh, good stuff all around by G2, as you say. They recovered 400 gold lead for them. I'm not sure what a tongue is, but it's the tongue lash.
These are the questions we don't ask.
It confused me. Let's go back to this fight, because this is after we've already seen Upset go down.
Yeah, honestly here, there's just not much Schalke can do. You can see Ignar tries to gobble up Trick. After the changes to Tom Kench, you can instantly spit out your ally, but still not enough to do against the damage coming in towards Schalke's direction. Caps barely surviving there too, you know, is chugging the potion to try and outlast the Ignite. And then Jankos holding on to the chains there until the shield vanishes on the TK.
And this is what we expected from G2. We said they were going to play a lot of fights early on. They keep going for it. Grand entrance in, Mickey jumps out with the battle dance. And he will be back towards safety. There's actually 1,000 gold lead now as Trick jumps into the top side, trying to catch out Wonder. Odo on the chase as well. The Pop Blossom, the shield will be enough. Shut down onto Wonder as he gets caught out in the top lane.
I love seeing this from Trick, not relenting on the top lane. Victor should be punished in these early games. Trick is absolutely finding his mark time after time after time here. And now Caps is on the rotation towards the top lane. He's going to dodge out the vision, but it's a 1v2. He's going to go for it.
Here he goes. Trick there. Caps trying to go in. He doesn't know yet that Trick has waited around. The raid comes out and Trick jumps in. Caps straight into the Shadow Assault, looking for the jump onto Odo. The chase comes out. TP used here by Wonder. He's going to join the fray as Odo tries to get away. The Ignite is ticking.
Okay, Wonder going forward here. Odo is in a whole world of hurt. The TP enough there for Caps to turn around and secure the kill, but here comes Jankos.
Jankos steals away the ultimate. Crescent Guard available to him. Trick has no way out of this. Jankos on the chase. Second kill of the game for him. And G2 are coming out on top.
Yeah, Jankos going to pick up a lot here too. I think he walks mid lane and picks up that entire wave of CS as well. So he's going to be feeling real good after that exchange, especially because for a while there, it looked like Trick had been finding all these early game ganks.
I'd like to take a moment just to analyze exactly what all of these kills have meant for the teams. If our observers can switch over to the gold leads, we'll see what might not be too expected for these guys. It's actually a 400 gold lead for Odoamne in top, 1,000 difference in the jungle. Jankos is miles ahead, mid lane's pretty much even, bot lane's pretty much even, but then there's another 1,000 for Mickey down towards that bottom lane.
Yeah, Mickey's gotten a lot, presumably from the Spell Thief's edge there, but really the biggest difference I see is between these two junglers. While Trick has been trying to proactively find all these ganks and secure them, he's done well in that, but his farm has not held up, while Jankos has been primarily showing up to counter gank, which means he's wasting less time and is able to speed through his jungle with ease.
Oh, TP coming in here from Abadage behind G2. Perks and Mickey on the run. Perks going to try and get away here, looking for the Emperor's Divide. Perks pops up into that Feather Storm. The Emperor's Divide goes the wrong way. Jankos is in the wings if he wants to join the fight. Caps on his way down as well. G2 looking to turn.
Yeah, G2 just buying time for the moment. They're going to pick up the Jinx rocket, and Wonder has also made his way down here. It's 5 versus 3 at the moment. G2 just sitting inside the jungle, hoping that a member of Schalke is going to walk in.
Schalke no. Schalke are like, okay, G2 have done this enough times. We can't see Caps. Don't go into our own jungle. It's dangerous. There are monsters there.
Yeah, so they play it safe and they all recall. But what this means for G2 is they should be able to pick up this tower.
They should. Later tonight, Spices, Klobby, and Chachi will join Quickshot in PGL. We want to hear from you guys, though. Who's your mid-split MVP? Send your answers to @LEC on Twitter, not @LOL Esports, @LEC on Twitter with those mid-split MVPs. And a lane that we haven't talked about too much, bot lane. Perks is 40 CS up over Upset right now. We said he wanted to be challenging for that best bot laner in Europe. At the moment, him and Mickey are dominating that lane, just about to take that tower as well. In fact, they've just got it. And G2 are using that to their advantage and now bring Perks and Mickey somewhere else on the map.
Now Schalke, they actually used the Abyssal Voyage to get up top lane to try and regain some of the tempo that they had lost down bottom side. Unfortunately, AP Victor can just so easily clear away these waves, even in a 1v2 situation, that Schalke have to readjust and say, instead of going for the early tower, we pick up the Herald now, and they can maybe use that, preferably to knock down this mid lane tower that Abadage has been able to slowly chip down at, and they can actually get this in the next few minutes.
Although Abadage has been chipping away at the tower, there's a Duskblade now finished on Caps. If G2 can play around vision control, can play around rotations towards these lanes, it's going to be very hard for Schalke to stay safe.
Exactly. I want to bring our attention to the control wards on the bottom side of the map where Caps is at the moment, because these are very forward control wards for the side of G2, and what it's going to allow Caps to do is step down into that bottom lane, push out the waves very easily, and then look for those rotations toward the mid lane. I don't think he's going to look to get solo kills on Odoamne in the bottom lane or anything like that. Instead, he's going to use his strength to just push on up and then go sit inside the enemy jungle, waiting for a member of Schalke to step too far forward.
It becomes so difficult to actually get anywhere into your own jungle. You have to take the long path all of the time because you never know where Caps will be waiting. At the moment, Schalke are going to answer the Talon split push with Odawamne, who's going for this Super Soaker build on the Nico.
Yeah, right now G2, 3 members up towards the top side of the map. Trick is not here to help out Schalke. Ignar trouble.
Knocked up straight away. The Flame Chompers come out. Upset. Still there, supporting his support. Caps maybe caught out as Odawamne, Abbedagge, and Trick collapse. Caps.
Wait.
Oh, he went the other way. Ignar under the thick skin. Jankos taking up the tower. He goes golden. The charm comes out. Mickey dodging around the fight as much as possible. The Devour isn't going to be enough. Mickey tanks it. Perks takes it. Double kill to the Xayah.
This is what G2 is so good at. Send one member to buy the time of 3 while the rest of the team sets up a collapse play on the other side of the map. Very well done there from G2 to get 2 kills, and Caps even survives.
Caps got out at the end of it. Rifthold used mid as they look to take this tower, open up the map a little bit more for themselves. Schalke can move their vision line up if you take down that mid, but G2 have got bot and top now. Perks still 35-40 CS up. He's in a very strong spot. Wonder taking a bit of damage here, but with Jankos just around the corner, I don't think Abbedagge is going to go in too far. Mickey doesn't have the ultimate, will still land the knockup. Abbedagge has a flash if he wants to get away. Flashes away, but Jankos is on the chase. Jankos has a flash of his own. Abscon's back.
Yeah, Abbedagge is going to be a go. Oh! Instant dodge flash there from Abbedagge. I mean, yeah, give him a little clap there. That was just picture-perfect reaction speed.
I looked away from my screen for a second and then saw Odawamne under a tower, and I thought Caps had done what Caps does and just somehow picked up a solo kill, but he hadn't. Mickey is waiting just around the corner here as Caps goes in. There's a ward in that bush. Here comes Mickey. Trick there as well. Trick's not... Oh! Okay, Oda's just dead.
Yeah, that was a pop blossom if I've ever seen one.
Oh, good one, freak.
I picked some stuff up while I was in Rift Rivals.
Yeah, maybe not all the best things. Upset here going to check the bush with the Flame Chompers, and Schalke are about 3,000 gold behind. We said G2 waits for the 15-minute mark. They didn't wait all of that time now, but they're going to continue to accelerate this gold away, and I expect to see them 6,000 to 7,000 ahead by the 25-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, so far this has been going according to plan and according to expectations here for G2, but to look on the side of Schalke for a moment, we know that they need time, right? When you have a Zero, when you have Jinx, you need items for these carries to really be able to do anything come the later stages of the game. So what I need to see from them is just stop the bleeding at the moment. Scale into a point where you can use your range to out-damage your opponents, because if you get jumped on from the Fog of War, your life will not be easy up against Caps.
Just don't get a chance to react at all, and the question now becomes for Schalke, who do you send to answer Caps? You know, it was Odawamne that you had in that lane. He's now really going to struggle when Caps has a Tiamat and that Duskblade and a couple of longswords in his back pocket. Abbedagge is going to go there now with the Seekers building up towards the Zhonya's, but he might not be strong enough to deal with the Talon.
Yeah, I think isolated in the side lane without a turret, Caps wins pretty much any duel he takes, but underneath the tower, things do tend to change where his ult will not grant him that invisibility, so Schalke should be able to cut off the bleeding by playing under the tower or by bringing their jungler down. Abbedagge looking mighty juicy, but here comes Trick.
Caps has the ultimate, has the parkour as well if he wants to get away. Trick down to half HP already, and Caps just dodges around it all! You cannot catch this man! Odo falls in the side lane, Caps just jumps across the wall. He's still alive underneath the tower. Abbedagge might look for the chase.
Once again, Caps buys the time of 2 members while G2 keeps playing. No. Let's check it out.
Oh,
wait, does he walk into it?
What is
oh my god! No way! That's just gross.
What do you do against this team?
The worst part is that Schalke are calling out, there's a Jinx rocket coming, move, move, move! And they just run straight into it.
But here's the thing, like, I saw it, I was like, oh, Upset's chucked it down to see if he can catch out Caps, and then realized that it was actually Jankos who found the pick. Now Abbedagge is underneath the tower here, Caps going quite low. Doesn't really have any walls to jump around.
Abbedagge has absolutely no mana. He has to TP out here underneath the tower.
Should have gone Ludens. He will teleport out, but Jankos! Almost catches him in time. 5,000 gold lead for G2 as we hit the 20-minute mark, and they are starting to take Schalke to the cleaners.
Yeah, well, the gold lead is continuing to balloon a bit, up to about 4,500 at the moment. Caps looking stronger and stronger by the second. Should be finishing off some more lethality items for him soon, but importantly, Abbedagge has finished off that Zhonya's Hourglass, so we'll have some more protection for him, and I think that Schalke should be looking to not get into looking for the 2v1s on towards Caps, instead just farm away underneath your towers.
Perks just goes for him underneath the tower. I mean, Mickey comes in from behind and Jankos is there as well, but it's definitely a 1v1 for Perks.
Yeah, I mean, what AD carry doesn't like to tank towers and go for dives?
Jankos steals away the ult. We'll watch this as it finds its inevitable conclusion from one G2 jungler to another. Trick, goodbye.
They literally see it on the wards. They saw him pick up the ultimate. Poor guy.
Sometimes that happens. Wonder caught out here by Oda1. The Tangle Buff's going to connect. The Pop Blossom comes out as well, and the chase is on. Schalke will get themselves a consolation prize, and they can use that to get a push in mid, but the tower's already down, and so you can't really get much more.
Yeah, they just have to go top lane. This big wave pushing up, so they must pick that up. That's one of the other things that G2 have done in this game is they have very deep vision inside the enemy jungle. Speaking of,
Flash away. Flash in by Caps, flash away by Odo. That's another summoner spell burnt. I want to bring attention away from Caps, although he tends to draw it to himself in these games, and have a look at those two AD carries once again. 36 CS lead for Perks. He is 2,000 gold ahead at the moment over Upset. You can see Upset sitting there, 4th from the bottom, 6th best in the game, and Caps is very close to Abadage. It's a big, big lead. Trick actually falling a long way behind Jankos as well.
Yeah, G2 very clearly having control over this game at the moment. It's going to be a long time. Well, Abadage.
Yeah, Mickey not able to land the charm. He's just going to get knocked back. He doesn't really have anywhere to go. Has to flash away. The ultimate doesn't quite connect. Mickey showing some cool Rakan mechanics though there. You ult across the wall, you E in, then you get your W connection. Can work out incredibly well because, of course, the ult locks you out of using your W and your flash for about half a second or so.
Yeah, Mickey's Rakan has been real ham today, going under some towers. And now, again, G2, because they have such deep vision and have control of the river at all times, Schalke have never had a chance to put anything past their own jungle. So this is very easy.
Imagine being Schalke right now, though. You're like, okay, we've stemmed the bleeding. We're only 4,000 gold behind at the 22-minute mark, and then you see that appear on your screen. Red team has slain Baron Nashor, and you think, what do we do now?
Not a whole lot, because even if they had sensed that out and thought maybe G2 are on this objective, Caps is just sitting inside the jungle, so you're gonna get killed. Now Odo gonna get killed.
Odo, oh no, as he gets caught out in the bottom lane. He was back in, but Caps was there in time. Wonder here as well, but Odo using the Shape Splitter is gonna get away from the Chaos Storm. This is a good escape, and with the Abyssal Voyage, he'll be safe. Fancy feat there from the Nico.
Nicely done there from Odwamne. Ignar 2 using the Abyssal Voyage to get in there, but still G2 have complete pressure over this map. They just have to pick up some minion waves in mid lane and bottom lane and then start up their siege. This is where things get a little difficult for Schalke. You know, when you're dealing with the Baron and we're dealing with two very strong solo laners in the Talon as well as the Victor, it's very hard to resist the push.
So if you've been looking at the minimap, Caps went towards the red buff, pinged it out a lot, and was like, it's spawning, and you know who's going to be near it when it spawns? I think a tasty Jinx will go for it.
Oh,
Caps
no.
immediately finds out, Upset burns the flash, but now maybe he's caught out. Mickey here to try and lend a helping hand. Drink low, Crescent Guard not going to save you now as G2 collapse. Ignar forced away here by G2, but that was set up by Caps, expecting an AD cap.
Yeah, Caps knew it all. Great call there, Medic. As Caps doesn't get his initial target in Upset, but picks up Trick, as even though Trick tried to knock away the rest of G2, Caps had enough damage to knock him down. Now another minion wave shows up here in the mid lane, and G2 should be able to cash in on yet another tower.
Started so well for Trick against his former team. Now he's sitting at 1 and 5. Not much you can do against the MSI champions. The Super Mega Death Rocket won't spell the demise of anyone from G2. Mickey jumping back in onto Ignar. Wonder is here for the party. Mickey jumps out, but Perks is done. Abadage jumping in, trying to get the damage down onto Jankos. He pushes them away, but Caps is here to join the fray. Ignar forced away, and G2 can now re-engage if they want. It's Mickey jumping forward, but he gets taken low by Upset. Wonder flashes forward, can't quite get the death ray out.
Odwamne sitting on the side, no flash though, makes it so hard to enter in towards this fight. Abadage got that kill on towards Perks, got a little too hypey, now it's Trick's turn.
Odo, the Shape Splitter isn't the one he wanted, as he could have gone with the Pop Blossom. Caps is going to chase Odo down towards the bottom side as already. We've seen Trick fall. Pop Blossom will land the stun, but Caps still can just shadow assault across this wall, looking for the damage. Odo lands another Tangle Bar onto Mickey just in time to save his own life.
Odwamne getting out time and time again by the skin of his teeth. But all that time, Jankos pushing in towards that middle lane. They knock down the tower, but Schalke want to turn.
Look at how low G2 are. All it takes is one auto from Upset, and he's going to get excited. Jankos on the front line. You can see Mickey forced away, but Upset just get those autos in, get the rockets down. Can't quite find the connections, and it's a game of inches. You feel if Upset just got one kill, he would have been cleaning up that fight.
But here's the thing, G2 know that they can play so aggressively.
Oh!
Rocket,
That's
Caps
how you dodge one.
just jump over the wall casually. Every champion can do that. But G2, they continue to go forward like they are because there's just not that much ability for Schalke to actually lock them down, stun them up, and take them out in these fights. You see this one more time from G2. Speed up a little bit because we're away from the action, but it initially starts here with Abadage stepping forward to get some damage down on towards Perkz. He gets rooted, and that's where G2 decide maybe you can knock down this tower and get a little bit extra.
Ooh. So close to killing Jankos, about 200 HP off. If you'd been a tiny morsel less healthy, you would have gone down.
Yeah, so Mickey tries to turn this around right here, which you look at and say, maybe that's a little bit bold, especially because Perkz steps into 3 sand soldiers into the auto attack range right there. But Abadage's big mistake is then trying to get more, although you can't help but feel for the guy in a game like this where you just have not been getting anything for so long on Schalke that he wants to take that kill, and he says maybe this is our best chance for a play. But it continues to drag on for so long.
Here's the thing with G2 though, you look at that, it was a good defense from Schalke, right? They survived, their inhibitor didn't go down, but now they're looking for another fight. Pop Blossom coming out, Jankos is going to answer with one of his own. The stun lands onto Ignore, Schalke push forward, G2 getting routed, Mickey's already down, Upset getting excited, Abadage on the back right, Perkz is low, Jankos there as well, he's about to go down.
G2 have to stall as long as they can because the rest of their team is pushing in towards the base. The inhibitor is about to fall, that's going to be Wonder picking up now 2 members, pushing up topside, and it was only Odwamne able to reset in time to try and defend.
Perkz is just acting as a distraction crew right now. Abadage could teleport back to the fight. He's going to back to base, but this is another inhibitor going down, and Odo and Abadage just can't defend it. Perkz gets away. G2 open up the base even more. Caps going forward onto Odo. The Shadow Assault. Not quite enough damage. Abadage there, but it's just so much from Caps. Once again, he finds a kill from nothing.
Caps knows exactly what he can do on the damage. Just jumps on in there with the red buff, the bleed, and the ignite to pick up the burn kill on towards Odwamne. Time and time again, outnumbered, but always coming out on top.
Yeah, that Blade's End, the passive from Talon doing so much work there for Caps. He's 6-1-3 on the AD Assassin. I wonder if other teams will be looking at this pick and thinking maybe we can take this into Azir. You roam away from him. He has to take time to scale, needs to get that Seeker's Arm Guard early on as well.
Well, we've seen 2 very different ideas of how to counter the Azir in lane. You have the pick Gorky, scale alongside him, do good things come mid to late game. You also have to just get in your face and kill them. That is just the motto of G2 as a team. As we see 3v5, they're willing to commit into this because running, they can only do so much. But if they try to turn around, they can try to stall for much, much longer. Abadage not quite able to pick up Perkz there with that Emperor's Divide because, of course, he does have his ultimate. And G2 end up trading 1 kill in that trade while the rest of the team is able to demolish the base.
Yeah, it's really good stuff from G2 all around. You can see the ability to dodge out some of those skills. Caps here, ready to jump in at a moment's notice. And you just look at it, he just ticks down. He's like 250 HP. He still goes down. Odwamne, like, what am I meant to do against this? He's got himself a Zhonya's, it's not enough.
It's so nasty. Now Caps is jumping into the enemy jungle because the rest of G2 just starting up the Baron.
This is an easy secure for them. Only Perkz and Jankos need to be there. You get the shield from the Abscond Abduct. Jankos can tank that up for ages. Baron goes down, second of the game, 28 minutes in. Pretty soon you have to feel G2 will be closing this one out.
Yep. Just group up now. They can group up down bottom lane because all the inhibitors have been taken down mid lane and top lane. It's very unlikely that Schalke can find that fight with the numbers advantage again. You know, we'll see G2 split up for just a moment while Caps goes into the top lane to try and help that lane push in towards the enemy base. But remember, he has Moby boots. So even if Schalke were to try and force engage down bottom lane, he would very easily be able to come in on a flank and just destroy the Schalke backline.
Caps still splitting up towards that top lane as Schalke try and group up mid. They need to clear out this wave really before G2 get towards their base, but pretty soon they'll be knocking on that door.
So Schalke are architecting the best team fight, the perfect team fight. They must use their heal tools to protect Abadage and Upset. You have a Tahm Kench, you also have the Xin Zhao ult to try and push people back, especially the likes of the Talon or the Sylas. Get them away from your backline. Even then, you are out of damage, but is their only hope going into the siege.
We said we wanted to see a scaled up Azir and Jinx, where you've got 3 items on both. Rabadon's, Nash's Tooth, and the Zhonya's complete on Abadage. Caps answering Trick and Odwamne with this push. Upset has already finished his Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, and Rapid Fire Cannon, so he's in a very strong spot. The question is it going to be enough? Can you defend?
It's looking increasingly difficult now with 2 minutes left on the Baron. G2 have the ability to walk up to the tower, Zaya's range not incredibly long, so it is difficult to actually get those auto attacks through. But you notice that cannon minion with the Baron buff on top, it does so much damage.
Wonder chasing him, Zabadagi tries to get the kill, but he flashes across the wall. The stopwatch isn't going to save you for long. Trick here, Abadagi flashes away. Caps on the chase, just ignites them, and Swag walks away. Trick will take down Wonder, but Caps takes the second, and now G2 can just push in for the win.
G2 walking to the base, Caps goes for an upset so low.
Ignite goes down on Caps. The pop blossom is actually in a very good position. Caps is going to die, and now Upset's getting excited. Jankos trying to get away. Only one Nexus tower stands between G2 and their win.
The minions are still here, though. Mickey hitting the tower. Perks goes forward, looking for Upset.
Can't quite take him out. Upset survives and gets back onto the fountain. Mickey, though, catches Ignite out. Odo Omne looking for Perks as they step forward. Perks low. Odo there as well. Perks down, but the Nexus is the target you have to feel. Pop blossom cost! Goodbye, Schalke. You can take Caps, you can take Perks, you can take Wonder, but you cannot take us all. Jankos survives a trip to the fountain, and the Nexus will get taken down by the minions.
I just love it. Every time, spicy pick, spicy gameplay, even finishing it in style there with the stolen Pop Blossom from Jankos, diving on forward with the flash for the three-man ulti. Just always looks good from this team.
It does. And no matter what they pick, they seem to be able to find a way to make it win. I'm sure there was strategy. I'm sure this was hard thought, and they thought about their draft a bunch, but it's still just fun to see unique things come out every week. It's the second unique champion Caps has played this week as well. He's never played Talon before on the stage. On the stage.
Yeah,
yes.
On any stage. Really, he had the Renekton yesterday, smashed Misfits with it. Well, Talon now definitely in there as he finished the game with 8 kills. Almost full build on the champion too. It was interesting because, again, we didn't see him popping off in lane, but that's what we expected. As soon as he had the ability to roam around the map and start making plays, he dives to the enemy jungle, gets some kills, dives into the enemy bot lane, gets some kills, and that's a pretty fun time while doing it.
Yep. A lot of fun to watch. Of course, Schalke will be a little bit dismayed. They had some opportunities in that game, but sometimes you just have to accept that someone else is playing on another level to you. They beat Rogue yesterday. Going into next week, they will be sitting at 4-4, I believe, going into next week. So not an awful position to be in coming into the halfway mark of the split.
Yeah, and I think they had the right idea actually facing off against G2. Trick in particular with a very heavy camp up towards the top side of the map. He said, yes, Wonder likes to play these champions that are lane bullies, but oftentimes vulnerable to early game ganks. They went, we're going to draft this in out, we're going to make it happen early on, and it did. Unfortunately for them, G2 were able to fight back too many times and maintain even and even push themselves ahead through those gangster trip.
And this is the sort of thing G2 could do, you know, Caps, as soon as he got those Moby boots roaming around trying to find kills, and no matter where you skirmish, it always seems like G2 are just that little bit ahead.
They always are. Wonder shows up here. Of course, no damage going down onto him. Odoamne able to trade back the kill on towards Jankos at least, but this was able to undo a lot of the work that Schalke had done to try and put Wonder behind. And then once the map opens up, once these lane assignments start mixing up on the side of G2, that's where they group up and kill you every single time. Because during this play even, well, yes, it's a 3v2 tower dive on the top lane. It's a smart play from G2. The best part of it is that Caps is running inside the enemy base between second and third tier towers in the middle lane and saying, hey guys, I can 1v3 no problem.
Just a G2 game, just G2 things, it seems. Looking forward for them next week, the following weeks, this just seems to be the story of G2. If they go undefeated for the rest of the split, I don't think anyone would be surprised. Last split, we saw them kind of taking their foot off the gas a bit when they came towards playoffs. Schalke, on the other hand, last split went 9-9 and missed out on a playoffs berth. If they win, they're halfway through the split at 5-4 next week, but it's still a little bit tight for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Schalke are still on pace to contest for playoffs, and while we have seen a lot of our middle-of-the-pack teams starting to struggle and maybe fall down a bit, Schalke is one of those teams that I think, you know, has the potential, and right now I would say do look like a playoff contender team, so we will have to track them going forward because it is going to be a tight race as we get towards the halfway point and then try to close out this season.
It definitely is, with teams like Rogue, Vitality starting to have good performances, but speaking of performances in this game, you had Caps, Perks, and Mickey to vote for in Kia Player of the Game. You can go at Esports on Twitter and decide who you want to give it to from G2. Perks is 3 wins, currently in the leaderboard. I think if he gets this, he goes
So
top.
let's sabotage him and not vote for him.
Don't give it to Perks. Coming up next is a battle between first and third as undefeated Fnatic and Splice close out the week. Don't go anywhere.